Hey guys, welcome on back to the AnKorage where everything is awesome. And we've got a little bit of a special video in this one here. I wanted to kind of back up a little bit. I had done a previous video regarding something that I'd done for a friend of mine and that I've been working with him with. And I wanted to clarify some things on that. But first, real quick, as you can see, I've got my Odin's Raven banner over here because I've got this over here, which is actually the flag of Acadia. And I don't know if we can actually get to see that a little better. So why don't we do a little bit of a new Luma wipe from OBS like this. So you can kind of see it a little bit better. It's just the far right hand side it's basically the French flag, and it's got a yellow star in the upper section of the blue stripe on the far left. So that's what we've got going on with that. And I only do that because my lineage traces back to Acadia, which is currently Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, and maybe a little bit of Newfoundland, maybe reaching into Quebec, something like that region, stuff like that. So, and it goes back 400 years. So that's what we've got with that. And if I can get you turned back on, and there we go. So there I am. And so I wanted to go into things regarding switch to Linux a little bit, clarify my roles and my responsibilities. So for that, what I want to do is I want to show a little something that I've kind of prepped up a little bit. I don't plan on using this for anything big or constantly. I was just playing around with graphics one day, and I wanted to kind of show you what this was all about. So why don't we see that this is for Switch to Linux, and so this is it. So I wanted to do green for myself, so I'm going to be doing this video a little bit with this border graphic. I don't have my camera adjusted to fill in get rid of those black bars. So I'm probably not going to leave this up. So actually, why don't I go ahead and I take that off? So why don't I get rid of that, and we'll switch it back over, and I'll do my new Luma wipe, and there we go. And the Luma wipe, I'm just using small squares, similar to Switch to Linux, because I think he's doing his through a Stream Deck or a controller box off to the side, where he actually has borders around the X's, and it pretty much just it comes down like this, and then it blows out like that, and it's pretty cool. I like it. So I can't duplicate it. I wouldn't want to either, because that's his thing. So I'll do something similar, and there's a built-in Luma wipe in OBS, and so that's what I'm doing there. So I wanted to go over just a couple of things regarding my roles and responsibilities for Switch to Linux. So we're going to start right off with the big one, which is
the weekly news, a roundup.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom, I had to do it. So there we go. For the weekly news roundup, it is a tech news stream that is done. Currently, it is on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and I am involved. I am somewhat of a production assistant during that. I happen to take timestamps of all of the articles on it, and actually have my timer over there. It's on the couch, but it's basically it's my tablet, and it's Android, so I just use the clock app in there. I use the timer on there, and I kick it off, and as soon as the stream starts, as soon as the Switch to Linux logo starts up, I hit start, and from that point on, whenever a segment it switches over, what I do is I hit the lap button, and it marks it marks the lap. And I use that to record when a segment starts or an article starts and stuff like that. And I do that for the duration of the stream. And what I do is at the same time is there is a record of it that Tom puts up, and I actually he puts it on a Nextcloud server that he has and uses. And what I do is I have access to it, and I have it up in my text editor. And every time there's a mark or one to record stuff, time to record, I'll write it down, I'll type it out, and then I save it. And then I do that throughout the course of the stream, and I do that. So, however, the weekly news roundup, it transmits on 5 different platforms: YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, DLive, and Twitch. DLive, he was mentioning, might be disappearing at some point. He's not quite sure. But in the meantime, it's still going, and nothing wrong with that. I also do chat moderation during this time. And so what I do is I do it on YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. And what I do is on my second monitor here, I put those 3 chats up for those platforms, and I monitor the chats, and I moderate when necessary. So typically I just let it go, and until something bad starts happening, and it has to get pretty bad for it to get to that point. In which case, I'll put someone in timeout. I might kick them out of the room. I might ban them. Whatever's appropriate, stuff like that. And so that's basically my involvement with the weekly news roundup. The supporter streams. I'm a guest on the supporter streams, so you'll see me, and this is basically the setup because I'm using the same camera, and what you see behind me right now is what we've got going on there. Sorry, I don't have my lights on or anything like that. I should probably turn those on real quick. So why don't I come back in a second? Okay. And there we go. I've got my lights on, and I've got the proton pack running. So there we go. So I do that. So I do the chat moderation during the streams, stuff like that. So during the supporter streams, yeah, I'm on, and but most of the time I'm monitoring the chats. I might be involved in the chats. I don't really get overly involved in the discussions, but he will, call out to me to see if I happen to have any thoughts about any particular topic or something that we mention or are discussing, stuff like that. And let's see, what do I do out on social media? Well, I am out on X, formerly Twitter, Blue Sky, Metapixel, Fetisroot, Friendica, Scribe, and then of course Matrix, which is it's our online community chat. So, but I don't really consider that social media, but it kind of sort of is social media to a degree. But and so what I do is I provide announcements for streams and videos, and then I talked about that a lot in my previous video, where I actually go through what I do and such. But I'm not going to do that again here. Just saying that I do it. So what I do is on social media, I actually go out and I provide announcements for videos and streams. And then what I do is the following day of any particular video or stream is I'll do another post about the same thing as a see it again or don't forget kind of situation. And I've got templates for all that stuff. And I also provide, specific hashtags for anything that's unique to the content that's being provided. So, and on X and Blue Sky, the text limit is very, very small. And however, out on the Fediverse, I'm out on fetish root, which is provided by Disroot, and it's not Mastodon and or anything like that. It's just general Fediverse, general Federation, Fediverse, whatever, or what a lot of us call as the Fedi. Is this root's character limit is 5,000. So I can type to my heart's content, and I try to take advantage of that within reason. There's a lot of information to put out there, and but I try to keep it to a reasonable level. So there we go. So that's what we got going on with that. And then of course there's the online community matrix online chat, which is a decentralized form of chat similar to stuff like IRC and stuff like that, but it's actually probably closer to something like Discord, because you can do GIFs, you can do smileys, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. And I do moderation for that, and I'll get involved. There's a couple of people on there. Strawberry for one. Hey, sweetie. Dollars, formerly Penny. Dr. Quantum, and a few others. Sobu's on there. Dan is on there on the supporter streams, and also our supporter hangouts where we review the news articles for Weekly News Roundup, and we just kind of hang and talk and chat and whatever, stuff like that. And we do that. And I also do the room icon management. So when I first got on there, it's like, yeah, we've got all these rooms, and but we didn't have any dedicated icons or unique icons to identify each of the rooms. So I actually went out and I got a bunch of icons, and then I actually doctored a couple. I've doctored up a number of these so that they look a little better. That they stand out. They get to the, they give you the point on what the room is like, stuff like that. And my favorite one is the Linux discussions channel or room, because it actually has tux in there with a yellow border around it, and the original graphic was like white and yellow, I think it was, or black and yellow or something like that. And what I did is I went in there and I actually looked up an actual tux logo, and I matched up the colors for the beak and the feet and everything, so that it came out looking fantastic. So yeah. That is everything I've got for that, and that is clarification on my role and my responsibilities or duties, if you can call it that much. And why do I do this? Why do I do all of this work? I mean, it's stuff that takes place over the course of a week's time. So it's not like an everyday kind of thing. Yeah, there are things I do every day. I'll check for new videos, stuff like that. Right now, Tom's kind of we're coming in July. So he's not going to be around a whole lot. He does have things regarding summer schools that he does counseling at. And, he's going to be busy, so we can't really do much on there. I host a supporter hangout on right now. It's Wednesday nights with Dan and Sobu and whoever else wants to pop on that are supporters, and we do that, and we hang out for a couple 3 hours, and we have a great time. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Today is currently Saturday, so we've already had one for this past week. So, and the weather outside is it's horrible outside. It's raining, it's cold, and we're going into July, and I've had to wear my fleece zippy to go outside. Go that way. And it was funny when and I had to turn the heat on today. And it was kind of funny because, I turned the heat on, and then, the heat is the heater register is of course on the floor behind the couch there, and it was causing the Raven banner to poof out, and also the Acadia flag to poof out. But heat's not running right now, so because it doesn't need to, so they're sitting flat against the wall, so that's good. Yeah. So yeah, the stuff I do is over the course of a week. That amount of time, stuff like that. So I'm not doing something with it every single day. I'm not required to. And it's like I'm a supporter, but but my support isn't all that much on the financial side, because to be a supporter, you just throw a little bit at them. It's got different tiers. I'm on Patreon, and with them through there. I also do my support for Disroot through Patreon. So they want to change it to fees or something. I don't know. I don't think they're going to have to now, regarding the recent news that I've read. However, I support Switch to Linux through Patreon, and I'm like, and I know that he appreciates it. And but I'm like, was it last summer probably? I was looking at my contribution, and I'm like, yeah, I do this, and I've been on the supporter streams for the past couple of years, and I just started, doing the moderation and stuff like that, because at the same time, I'm like, what could I be doing extra to help out? What could I contribute more? It's like, yeah, I give a financial contribution to support, and I'm like, but it's not all that much, and I feel that I could do more. So what do I want to do? So, I started the moderation, started doing the extra announcement posts on social media. I do the moderation during the streams. And the most recent thing is the timestamps. So I've kind of sort of become a production assistant. Can I technically call myself that? Maybe. I don't know. Uh, I'll play with it. I don't know. Tom, what do you think? I don't know. But in either sense. But that's what I've got going on with Switch to Linux, and that's the expanded clarity on what I actually do, without going into the systems and playing around with them. So there we go. So that's going to be pretty much it. So if you happen to like this content, give it a like, subscribe if you wish to. Don't have to, but or you can just come on back next time if you happen to find me. So there we go. So thank you very much. Skál. Drink to victory.